Hello.
Yes, and I am still keeping my head warm, so yes, I do have my hat on.
If you have a lot of hair though, it should be nice.
I do not like this weather, Sam. I do not like it.
We needed the rain.
Somebody.
Did you know that there's fires in Northern Virginia? There's a forest fire.
Yeah, we did need the
North of
rain because they've been putting
Charlotte.
the bans on everything.
Yes. And I've smelled fire yesterday, so who knows?
Well, see, I did too. Now, see, I smelled it.
We were getting in our car.
I smelled it Sunday, I thought. When did it start?
I don't know, but it's quite a big one and pretty massive. And I'm like, where have I been?
Well, I don't watch the news.
Well, that's probably it. I don't want to watch the news because it's depressing. You know, we want to try to do things that are funny, but it's hard when the world is all messed up. But you did send me that link.
With the rabbi?
Yes.
Isn't it interesting?
I ordered those books.
Yeah, I want to get those too. I think
I'll pass them around.
I think, yeah, because that's one of the books that I've been wanting to read, but it sounds like it'll be very interesting.
I went through thrift books, so they're used. You know, I bought 3 of his books for $20. The Harbinger, the first one, and then the second one. And then there was a third one. I don't remember what it was, but I bought it anyway because it looked interesting.
And he's a Messianic Jew.
So he's a Christian.
So it's just really interesting the tying in. I'm still watching him and watching some of the things that he's doing and all, but it is really interesting. So.
Yes, I passed that on to my friend.
Oh, you did?
Yes, and it was like, I guess we just don't understand.
Well, we don't, because that's what I was telling a friend of mine the other night at church. I said, I'm trying to understand it. We look at everything as Americans. But we don't know the Jewish side of things. Mm-hmm. We don't know. And I did not realize because I started looking up the Torah and stuff, and the Torah only has 5 books in it. It's like the first 5.
Yeah.
Because, the New Testament,
that's
the
ours.
the Jews don't really accept unless they're Messianic.
Yes.
And then, so some of the other writings and stuff are not even in there and all. So, I mean, they may be writings and down for history, but they're not a part of the Bible that we use. So it's really interesting. So we're looking at everything from.
And it's almost like reading Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm.
You had to be in his mindset of how he wrote at the time, the vernacular, to understand all those little innuendos and what he meant by a pound of flesh and all of that. And yeah, when he started explaining, we went to a class one time, many moons ago, and they were doing a similar thing. But I don't know if they were just proselytizing or what. And I often wonder if we stayed there, if they were able to go through the book and explain the book and the Bible and different things. But what he said in very short time was just unbelievable, right down to the eagles on the plane.
I know.
It makes you want to get those scriptures and be able to open them up every day to see what is in this that I should pay attention to. You know?
I know. And I try to put everything, I guess today my word of the day is perspective. Because everything has a different perspective. And I know that if I change my perspective, then I will see things differently. So, because I may be seeing something one way right now, but if I just alter my perspective, I might see it totally different.
It's called your frame of reference. And if you use the word frame of reference, you're looking through a frame. So this is what you see, but let's switch it around. And what does another person see? And that's exactly what you're talking about and we often use other things, walk in the other person's shoes,
Mm-hmm.
go on the other side of the fence and take a look at what's happening. So it is perspective, and everything has that.
Yeah, I learned it from blackberries.
Ouch.
Well, I was picking blackberries one day, and we were going through a whole lot at the time, my husband and I, and there was different things going on and everything, and I was picking blackberries, and I went down, and I thought I had cleaned them up. And then something made me look under and then go around to the other side because I was pulling the leaves and stuff.
Mhm.
But I actually walked around to the other side. And there was even more blackberries that I wasn't
Wow.
seeing because it
They're
was from a different
hitting
view.
different viewpoint, a different frame of
And
reference.
God gave me that to me that day because He was like, Karen, He said, you're seeing things one way right now. He
Hmm.
said, step back.
Called tunnel vision too.
Yeah. And so it really helped me at that point in life to step back and go, okay, so yes, so I need to look, I need to step back and maybe go around or look a different
That
way.
fits
And
right into our oars
it does.
to observe. And what you're saying is don't just use one little tunnel of observation. Take many aspects of observation and bring it in before you assess everything. And then you can react. And sometimes you may not react saying, oh, I understand now what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, there are people who are just so impulsive.
Mm-hmm.
They just, oh, well, let me just, well, wait, stop. Hold on a minute, take a breath, and just, and sometimes you get people who are so anxious because they think they need to get that done right away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you say, and I have, it happens sometimes at church that one woman will, oh, I was like, breathe, slow down, it's okay. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. And I think that takes time to get to that frame of reference and that mindset.
Well, there are times where we look at something and we think we've got it figured out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think then for me personally that God will go, no, you don't. You're not see you may think you do, but you're not looking at it from what I'm seeing. So then I'll be set back a little bit. And then you come to the conclusion, I got no clue. I'm just clueless.
It's
I don't
like
know. I thought I had this figured out and I have no clue at this point
it's
what's happening.
it's that leap of faith walking on the water, you know.
Yeah, because it's like, but you do.
And
So, and
yes,
that's, and getting, so, sometimes, yeah, our minds may click and we may have, observed and assessed and think that we've got it, but then he's like, no, there's
no.
another piece of the puzzle you're missing and you don't even know
But
you're missing it.
here's another thing to do.
Because, when he puts a puzzle together, he's putting puzzles together that sometimes you don't even
We don't know.
know. I mean,
We
I
we
would have
don't know
never
the
known
path.
that you'd have been a part of my puzzle.
I know. Who would have thought we would have been working at a concession stand and just, oh, really, you did that? So did I. Well, two people in the whole world, but I didn't even think anyone else would have done that. And here we are.
Mm-hmm. And it's so there are things that there are times when, yeah, like I said, and it's
And
okay to not know. I think
oh
it's
yeah,
okay not to be in control and not know.
and sometimes you're given signs and you don't know what the heck they are.
Mm-mm.
And you just say, okay, we'll just try to go with the flow of this, you know? It's like I have a prayer list and I add people on the prayer list. And there are some, ever come across people you don't really feel like you want to pray for?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's really awful. I feel so guilty about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a way, I do a roundabout prayer. I say, these two people are yours, Jesus. So, that's sort of like praying for them in a roundabout way. It's like, I really have a
Is
hard
it
time.
really?
I'm really having a hard time. They're under your care. Please, please put them under your care because I don't think I can do it for them. and and I feel sorry for them. So I guess that is sort of like praying because I do feel sorry for them because
Is it
they
praying or relinquishing?
I don't know.
I don't
It's
know
just like
either.
you
I
might just
mean,
give up. I mean, I don't know how in their frame of reference they can really do much different than what they're doing, you know?
and I mean, and we're, but the Bible does talk about how it's so easy to love and pray for people that are in our circle that we love and and deal with.
It's hard to
But
do it too.
it's the ones that are not in our circle, or the ones that are uneasy to love, that we're really supposed to. And that is a stretch
Yes, I'm not
because,
righteous enough to be that way. I'm sorry. See, I had to do what Jesus would do, and I'm trying. All I can say is I'm trying. They're in my mind. I guess that's like praying too.
well, yes, and you're at least you're not setting them to the side.
No, therefore, I think about these people a lot and like, whew, what would happen if they could be like this? Or if they could just say one word, sorry. And not just to ease me, because I'm fine, they are with it, but to help them, because their hearts are really hardened. When we did the Bible study, we're all born with a heart that's supposed to be full of love. We're innocent, and it's what people fill it that screws it up.
Yeah, because and we truly can only know love through Jesus, through God,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean
Mm-hmm.
He is, it's He's the only one that can really bring true love to us.
Mm-hmm.
It's and love is a challenge.
It is, and we're not really. We are churchgoers. I guess you've sort of figured that out. And some people may not like that. And yes, we're a 501c3 and we're a charity, but we have our principles, and it's because of our principles that we are this group.
Right. And
It's
this, and
our
it
it's our
really does
form.
offer the turning point.
It does. It's our form, and it's us.
Mm-hmm.
We may not even go to the same church, but it doesn't matter. We believe the same things. We really do. And I mean, and it's just your process or whatever ritual you decide you want to take and what path you want to go and what you surround yourself with. Do I agree with everything that maybe our church does? Not our church per se,
Not
but
the building and the
not the
people in
building
that,
in
but
that
the
one.
but the church
Higher,
as
yeah.
the hierarchy
Yeah,
in
I
it.
don't. Because I think some of them have lost their way, and they need to go back and read Paul, especially the Acts. But um, do they mean well in their process of everything? They are trying to do it through love, and that's what we have to understand. And some people don't understand that, and they say, "Oh, I'm not going to go to church because I don't believe in what." But I understand where they're coming from because they are doing it. I spent 6.5 hours doing a safe church class this past weekend.
A safe church class, people.
Safe church.
Safe church.
Mhm. And that doesn't mean locking the doors, although that's what I do. I mean, I have,
I'm curious myself, so go ahead and explain what safe church is.
well, this was there are two groups. There's like the supervisory one, and then there's the generic one. I had to take the first one, the one that was encompassing. And basically, is you don't do things, I can boil it right down. Don't put yourself in a situation that's stupid, immoral, unethical, and it's not right, especially if it's a church setting.
Okay.
I mean, you can boil that right down. You never go one on one in a room with somebody you really don't know or with a child. I mean, I've done these classes. I've had background checks. For soccer, we have to do safe sport every year. And this class I took is every 3 years. It was quite good, very enlightening. Um, but it boils down to don't be stupid. You know, why would you put yourself in a compromising position? Why would you put your hands on somebody that was offensive and then say, oh, no, I didn't mean it like that? Well, then don't do it. And then your husband would understand this in self defense type things because um, no one has the right to touch you without asking permission. And if you go with that, you're pretty good there too. And keep your space, keep your distance, don't get too close, leave the doors open. Don't.
But when we used to go to church, it was okay. I mean, people just could walk up and hug you, and you could love, and but the world has changed.
Well, some people still do a lot of hugging and kissing. I'm not into that. I don't. I like to hug. And excuse me, there was one woman, I saw her, she'd had a surgery, and I walked my hugged her. I was glad to see her. But I'm not somebody who's going to go up and give everybody a hug and a kiss on the lips.
Oh no, me either. Oh no.
No.
Mm-mm. And
I
I don't.
don't do it with my kids. I kiss my kids on the forehead. I
Oh,
kiss my grandkids on their head. I kiss them on their ears. I kiss their eyelids.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to do this. No, it's not appropriate.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. No, I don't.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. And um, I, I have to make sure that most everybody in our church who is in any position like choir, they have to take these classes. And then anybody who just goes to church can take the general one. And everybody, it's like a self-defense class. Everybody needs to do a self-defense class. I hate to tell you that, but they should, and your husband believes it too. People should know how to defend themselves. And this is the same type of thing. And I told the parish on Sunday, I said, it's not a class that you say, oh, I don't want to do it, because that's what I said. I don't know. But if you are a grandparent, you're a parent, you're anybody in here, you're a sister, you're a brother, it's good to have these classes. You need to be aware, because if you're not aware, then you can't observe, because you don't know what the heck you're seeing. Because like, oh, things have to trigger, like, oh, that was not appropriate behavior. Because if you don't know it, you just ignore it. Again, knowledge.
Knowledge is power, right?
It is. It's powerful, and it was a great class. We did some different scenarios. They gave us different things to look over, and man, some people they just did everything wrong. Every
So
single
give
thing
me a
wrong.
situation. Let me see how I would react. So give
Um,
me a scenario and let me see what I would do.
okay, I should have brought them in the case studies. There were a couple of them. I could do Reverend Bill. Reverend Bill was hired by a church. He was retired. He was hired by a church who was having problems with financing. Okay. And he was retired and he was a CPA. Okay. So he and the treasurer were trying to get things in order.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, but she ended up having some feelings for him. So she kept calling and having meetings. And of course, now remember, they were two consenting adults, as far as we know from the case study that was there. And what happened was they decided to go away for a weekend. Okay. So,
Do some more book work. Gotcha.
yeah, well, no. Anyway, and he
Yeah.
had the church credit card, which he used for everything on this weekend. And then
Oh.
he imbibed in a lot of alcohol to the point where she realized that he drinks way too much, but he insists on driving. And
Red flags, red flags, red flags.
yes,
I'm
so
hearing so many from the beginning of the
that's
story.
right. So we had to put down what boundaries were crossed.
So many from the
So
beginning.
see what I said? It's pretty simple, right? Are
So
you
many
guys
from the
stupid?
beginning.
Right there at the beginning.
I mean,
Who was overseeing the whole? Did they? Well, he might. He was retired. I guess he fit the bill for what they wanted, but he had their credit card.
it's kind of like dumb crooks.
It is like really like, and at the beginning, she was the aggressor. She was pursuing him, and then afterwards, he would not let her drive, so she was kind of afraid. He became more dominant because he was drinking. Sounded like he was sort of a mean drunk there. Anyway, right at the beginning, who was overseeing both of them? They obviously weren't being taken care of by the board of directors of the church. So could they have pursued it? Yes, if one of them left, if she left and went to another church, then yes, maybe they could pursue that. But he was basically embezzling money, using the credit card for his own purposes, the church credit card. Unless he paid him back. We don't know that. But you see what I said? I mean,
It's
you want to go up to him and
it's just
go,
there's
bang,
too
what's
many,
wrong with
yeah,
you?
too many red flags on that one.
Exactly.
What about a gray area one? What's a gray area?
Well,
That one had obvious caution,
well,
red flags, and everything.
there
That
were
to
four
me
of them,
was.
and two had to do with children and teenagers, and two had to do with adults. And the one that was a little bit of a gray area, that you can make it a gray area, okay, is an adult that comes to visit a daycare because he's a relative of somebody who's working there and has fun with the kids. So a gray area that you have to look at, and uh,
But nowadays, nobody is. I'm just saying, nowadays, nobody is supposed to be around children unless they've been approved. So that would be a red flag for me.
okay, that's a red flag, but I'll give you a gray area, okay? Suppose there's somebody who has done all the screening, everything that you've had, no problem. Background check, did everything, complied with everything, but does little snippet of things that you see with children, and it brings out a flag to you. But yet, up and up, there's nothing that you can pinpoint.
Mm-hmm. That's a gray area.
That's a gray area.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear gossip? Yeah, gossip might have been out there, but unless
It's proven, you
it's
can't really act
proven,
on it.
you can't act on it. That's a gray area. However, when you're dealing with children,
Err on the side of caution.
exactly. So regardless of how gray that area is,
But then how do you talk to this person about it?
you just tell them this is the situation, and we do not want to have any question for you or for us about
Mm-hmm.
anything. Now, you may be as innocent as the day is long, but the perception from people
Mm-hmm.
is this. So we have to put this on hold for a while and
So
see
we
what
are not
happens.
condemning you. We're not blaming, and we're not charging you with anything.
Anything right.
We're just trying to.
Err with caution, because that's the position we have to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Because God forbid, if we said to somebody, well, hey, this person, there's nothing. We've looked at everything. There's nothing that and yet so we're gonna just go ahead and do this.
And then this person may take it offensively and leave,
Exactly,
but
and
that's
spread
their
the
and
word
spread the word that this church or this people or this group or
group
whatever is like this. But
does not have the concern for the child,
or they don't have. I mean, or they could go away saying that
ignoring.
they confused me or they accused me, and that's not exactly what happened either.
No, no. Mm-mm.
But when you do this, you should also do it not just with that person alone. It should be in a group of two or more with that person. So there are witnesses.
Yeah, actually, this did really occur, and I'm hoping there was, but I don't know. I probably wasn't, but I'm just saying. Um, and actually, that was one of the scenarios that a sort of thing that they brought up to be aware of.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel comforted that I think the right thing was done.
Mm-hmm.
Had to be.
You know what flashed through my mind when you were saying this, and I know this is not going to go over well with a lot of people, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Go ahead.
I remember back in the day, and I am not saying this is correct, the action. I remember back in the day when rape was first being prosecuted. A lot of times the rape victim was the one on trial. Now, I know nowadays they work to not do that, but a lot of things were brought up in the rape trials and stuff was that person's actions,
Asked for it.
how they were dressed, how they did things and stuff. And so if I take myself away and we know, so there's part of me that can understand that way of thinking because men lust with their eyes and they do things with their eyes. So if a woman is inappropriately dressed, you've automatically,
Opened up the door.
you've opened the door. So again, it's there are things to look out for, things to be. So I'm glad that they're not prosecuting the rape victim anymore. But by the same token, I think as women, there are things that we need to do to make sure we are not.
Putting a flag out.
Well, like I said, I don't know how to say it other than, there are things that we need to do to protect ourselves as well, and maybe dressing differently
I
is.
understand it
If you
exactly.
know what I'm saying, I don't know how to say it because I'm going to offend somebody by saying that. Because no, you should not be.
Right. No, yeah,
You should
do.
not be raped or you should not be
Yes.
attacked because of what you're wearing.
Exactly.
But there are triggers in people.
And yes.
And then their lust or their inability to. So but it just flashed through my mind when you were saying that is that there are some situations that we put ourselves in that lend itself. I
It
guess
does.
I guess that's what I'm trying to say. There are situations we put ourselves, like if I were a woman and you teach, and I know my husband teaches it, you teach it in your class and stuff. There are certain situations I should not be in as a woman out at night. I should not be walking down dark alleys.
Alone.
Am I allowed to walk down a dark alley?
Yes.
Is there any reason I shouldn't? And should I be attacked because I walk down a dark alley?
No. But don't put yourself in the situation. That's basically what you're saying.
And am I saying? Am I making it? Are you understanding what I'm saying?
I understand because you look at, and well, that was the other thing.
He's probably gonna cut us off in about 3, but
well, let's put this out there for people to think about. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. And that right where we started out with the frame of reference.
Frame of reference.
Frame of reference. Really.
Just because I can doesn't mean I should.
Exactly.
In some things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you're allowed to keep these people in because there was nothing against them, but you chose to err on the side of caution. Or I'm not saying you, I'm just saying in these scenarios.
Yes.
In the scenario of I'm going to choose not to walk down the dark alley.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though I can, I should be allowed to. You don't have a right to do it just because I'm down there.
Do I really want to do this?
Yeah. And like I said, I know some of it, what I said was not, it's not going to be agreeable with people. And I'm not supporting but it's being cautious.
Yes.
and thinking.
That's like, I have a real problem with seeing a lot of children's pictures on Facebook. I really do. Because predators, even though you may have your own little group, predators know how to get these pictures.
See, we don't think about that all the time. You're not thinking about it. You're thinking you're showing this off to a loved one that's far away.
I must be weird.
No, my husband would think the same way. And
yeah, it's a thought thing. I'm like, no.
But you're a protector.
That's exactly it. I am.
You're a protector, so
that comes up right away.
So I guess to sum this up is frame of reference. Get your frame of reference and be smart. In no way was this an accusation or a judgment against anybody or anything. It's just choosing wisely.
That is exactly. Oh, that's a good title. Choose wisely.
So, all right. Talk to you later.